Today, we've got two big giants in the industry. First up, Ross Video. They are abandoning their IPO and staying private. They're also buying up some companies, and as Ross continues to be a leader in sports production, Sony is taking notice. They've got some interesting acquisitions of their own. Welcome back. This is Chad with TakeOne Broadcast Solutions here in Nashville, Tennessee. Today, we're going to talk about what is going on in this crazy broadcast industry that we're all in, and we're going to get into it by talking about some acquisitions. Now, we all know about acquisitions, companies buying other companies, but this one is pretty significant because it deals with two really big players in our industry. First up, we're going to talk about Ross Video. And everybody knows Ross. If you're even remotely involved in this industry, you know who Ross Video is. And they've been buying up a lot of companies lately and growing their overall reach and market share. But interestingly enough, a few years ago, Ross decided that they were going to do an IPO and take their company public. They've always been a privately owned and employee-owned company. But the IPO, of course, you got to do some things with your business to make it look really good so that it's going to be more attractive to investors. That probably wasn't the best for their actual end users and product lines. But in a weird twist of events, this year, which was 2025, when the IPO was supposed to be launched, they have decided that they're going to remain a private company, and instead, they're going to look for private equity investments to bolster their company. And ultimately, my opinion in the matter is it's probably going to be for the best to keep Ross private. Even though private equity and other external monies are going to be involved, there's probably good and bad to both. But I think that when you are a private company, you're often going to be more focused on the end users and the products themselves to make sure that you're delivering the best. Because in not all cases, but in most cases with public companies, your function as a company is to please the investor, no matter what you have to do to do that. It's not always the best for the end users and the products. So I'm happy to hear that. Now, private equity does raise some alarm a little bit as far as exactly what those terms are going to be and who the new owners of Ross Video are going to be. There's also speculation that David Ross may be on his way out, looking for that retirement. So this could be all part of that as well. But as a whole, Ross has been doing amazing things. 33 years, they have been profitable every single year. Not many people can say that. So I'm really excited that they're going to keep the company private because, again, they're going to be hopefully focusing more on the products and the end users themselves. One of the things that David Ross said that they're going to be doing now is focusing away from the IPO. We mentioned that they're going to be doing what they're calling the BHAG, the Big Hairy Audacious Goal. I don't know, maybe it's funnier in Canada, who knows? But anyway, the BHAG, as I'm going to call it, is aiming for $1 billion in revenue by 2030. So 5 years from now, $1 billion in revenue. They're also going to be looking at expanding the R&D, which actually slowed down while they were generating the whole public offering thing. So really excited that Ross is going to be doing that. That's one thing that they've always done really, really well. They're looking to staff over 1,000 employees and then grow their workforce to over 2,000 people. And they've been making some pretty interesting strategic acquisitions lately, two of those of which we're going to get into today. So the first acquisition that just happened here recently, September 2025, was the acquisition of Llama, L-A-M-A. And Llama is a company that has a software-based audio solution that Ross is going to incorporate into their ecosystem. Now, I just want to talk about this for a little bit. As a guy that's been in the business now for 30 years, I've seen the transition from everything being hardware-based, and it looks like it's clear. The future is clear. A lot of the equipment that we're used to operating is going into a software or a cloud-based environment. It's just the nature of things, especially with IP becoming more prevalent and everything else. And Llama, it makes sense. This acquisition makes a lot of sense because we're probably going to see that a lot of production is going to go away from the traditional big audio consoles, and we're going to be incorporating that into software-based systems. And with Ross, it makes sense with their dashboard system that they would bring in an audio component as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly how Ross is going to incorporate Llama into their product suite, but it really makes a lot of sense. And again, like with switchers, with graphics, with so many other things that are becoming more software driven instead of hardware driven, this is just the future of things, and it's just the way things are going. So it's a very smart acquisition. Ross has typically not done a lot with audio in the past. So it's going to be really interesting to see exactly what they do with that. And as we start learning more, we'll be here to tell you about it. So make sure to stay tuned. Speaking of staying tuned, While you're at it, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, follow our content so we can keep you up to date with what's going on. So this next area is an area that Ross already does really, really well in, and that is the live event space. So we're talking about LED walls, projectors, projector mapping. And so building onto that already existing suite of products that they have, like Mosaic and Tessera, they acquired a company called Ioversal, and they make a product called Vertex. And Vertex has already been out there. It's an AV production suite that's used for exhibits, live entertainment, large scale productions, that sort of thing. Basically, what Ross wants to do is bring in all the elements of your live production into one ecosystem. Again, falls right in line to everything else that they do. They want that whole ecosystem thing for you, so you got a one-stop shop for everything. But basically, it's going to be bringing in your video, your audio, your lighting, and control all into one. So this is going to be really interesting to see how they incorporate all of this into that live event space. And of course, we'll be following along and keep you up to date as it goes. But again, another very interesting acquisition by Ross Video. One of the areas, especially from my world personally, that I have experienced especially over the last 15 years, Ross has done really, really well taking over. I don't use that term lightly. They have taken over the sports broadcast production market. And especially when it comes to a lot of the new control rooms that are getting built in universities and things like that. So as before, we had these big, iconic brands like Grass Valley, Chiron, so many others that have been used for decades. It's been sort of the gold standard. Ross has been able to come in and basically either acquired or made a lot of these companies irrelevant. And it's pretty amazing how they've done that. And so whether it's switching, whether it's graphics, whether it's, their displays like we were talking about with Tessera, they have owned so much of this sports marketplace. But I can tell you this, not everybody's just sitting back and letting them own that market. This next acquisition highlights that, and that is Sony's recent acquisition of STATSports Group. They make these wearable devices for athletes, and they have data out of this that you can add on to your live broadcast, whether it's GPS, heart rate, accelerometers, all of these type of things. And so it's very apparent that Sony really wants a piece of this, and this actually already complements a lot of the other products that Sony has been kind of under the radar, been acquiring. So I think that Sony is really ready to kind of start incorporating a lot of this into their technologies. Because again, a vast majority, I would probably safely say, of high-end network sports are on Sony cameras. And so integrating this technology in there is going to be very interesting. They already have Hawkeye Innovations that does optical tracking and officiating, KinaTrax, which is a markerless motion capture, and then Beyond Sports, which deals with visualization, fan experience, and that sort of thing. So they are starting to bring on some of these companies that are going to, I'm sure, make an impact. And again, Ross, kudos to them for really doing so well. I would just say, look out, because not everybody is going to roll over and just let one company own the whole sports market. Sony, I'm sure, they're a little quieter. Their marketing is a little more subdued, but they know what they're doing. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing exactly what they're going to do with sports stats, and we're going to keep you updated here. That's all we've got for you today. There's a lot more to come. Please, again, give us a like, thumbs up. If you have any questions about TakeOne Broadcast Solutions, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at mail@takeone.tv. Our phone number is 1-877-81-TAKE1. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.